Hello, hello, hello. I'm Holly Rustick, owner and founder of Grant Writing and Funding, and welcome to the Grant Writing and Funding podcast. All right, so on the show today, I'm super duper excited because I have Dr. Omotola Akinsola, and she is amazing because she's actually one of my members in my group. She's also a student, and we've actually become really great colleagues throughout this entire process. So I'm really excited. She's going to be sharing with you today a lot of great information about how to advance your business. So if you're wanting to open up a freelance consultancy, if you're wanting to learn how to write grants, all of that, she's going to share what she's done with you. So welcome to the show, Tala. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful to be here.
Yes, I'm super excited. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and read your bio so people have a better understanding of who you are. Dr. Omotola Akinsola, and I love that you became a doctor since you've been a member with me. So it's been this. I'm like, she's a doctor now. It's fantastic. So you have more than 7 years of experience as both an in-house grant writer and a freelance grant consultant to various nonprofits across the United States and in the continent of Africa. You're a social worker by trade, and you combine your passion for education, youth leadership, homelessness, community service, nonprofits, and social entrepreneurship with your skills as a writer and researcher. And I'm super excited. You have your PhD in social work from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and you've done a lot with founding Jumpstart Dream Academy, a nonprofit in Nigeria that works with youth to develop them into agents of positive change. And you've worked and consulted for various nonprofit organizations in different capacities, such as designing programs, evaluating programs, structuring nonprofits to run effective budgeting, grant proposal writing and reviews, and coming up with amazing fundraising strategies. So you've done a lot. Your business is called The Funding Magnet, and people can definitely find you on the fundingmagnet.com, LinkedIn, Instagram, and so forth. So you have a lot of stuff out there. You're also offering a freebie to all you listeners out there, or the viewers that are watching the YouTube channel. So I will definitely have that link later in the show. You can in the show notes. All right. So thank you so much. This is so exciting. I'm super excited to have you on the show because I've seen you grow so much in the last 6 months, even in your business and getting your degree, and you're definitely one of the most positive and just committed and disciplined people that I know, but you also have fun. You're a mom. You have a lot going on. So yay. So once again, it's my honor to have you on the show, and I can't wait for our discussion today.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's go ahead and a little bit about you. I want to know more about your story, and I'd love for you to share it with everyone out there because it's so inspiring. I mean, as you heard in the bio, Tala, she's an executive director at a nonprofit, but she also runs a freelance business. And a lot of you may be thinking to do the same thing or in the same position. And, I just want you to kind of share, what was where did you start? You said, over 7 years of doing this. So 7 years ago, what made you kind of get into this industry?
Absolutely. So I finished my bachelor's degree and got accepted for my master's at Washington University in St. Louis. And during the process, I was also studying social work, but we had this opportunity to choose our concentration. So it was either you choose the traditional one or either macro macro practice or meso, or you do the macro. And for me, I always felt like I want to do the best of both worlds because I believe that they both intertwine in my interest. And so while I was in my first semester, I came up with my own concentration, which I call social enterprise development and management. And nice. Throughout my study, I had half of my classes at the business school and half at the social work school. And I also did a specialization in social entrepreneurship. And at the end of the whole goal was within a year, I realized that the goal was to start a profitable and sustainable nonprofit organization. And in order to be able to do that, you need both. You need the money and you also need the art as well. And so that was what my education was able to give to me. And then from the other reason I realized that this was needed was because in my country, Nigeria, the same thing was happening. Even though I left over 5 years ago at that point, nothing has changed in terms of education, youth development, and homelessness and issues with children that are out of schools. Right now, Nigeria has over 10 million children out of school, and it keeps growing every single year. And so that was just where the challenges and problems I was thinking of. I was like, you know what, I don't have to become the president, the governor to make a change happen. I can do it through a social enterprise or a nonprofit. And so that was how I started the Jumpstart Dream Academy, and was so invested in it that I even started before I went back to Nigeria. So I was having team meetings on Yahoo Messengers then and Skype. And that was how we just started in 2012 to say, you know what, we can be change makers. We don't have to wait until we have money or we have a big position to make change happen. But if we come together as young people, we can make change happen. And so that was the part of that. And that was sort of how I began. And then also the reason why I was passionate about education and youth was growing up. I grew up in a very poor and like sort of what they call the ghetto area when I was growing up as a child. Like sometimes like our education system was stopped like for 4 months, 5 months. There'll be strike when the teachers will go on strike, and then there'll be no school for us just because we're in the public school system. And then it used to pain me so much that just because of who people are, where they are born into, that can determine whether they move along in life or they stay stuck. And so I always believe that your background should not equal your future. And so that was sort of like the inspiration when, you know what, I want to do better. I want to figure out how to help young people, irrespective of their background, to be able to make something out of their life, to follow their dream, to be able to finish high school, to be able to go to college if that is their choice, or do something else if that is the preference that they want. And so that was how the journey began for me. And I realized that there was nothing like that at that point in Nigeria that was being done in terms of the services and the programs that we were going to offer. And so that was what sort of began the journey for me.
Wow. I mean, that's so inspiring. And how, like, okay, so you have this dream, you're growing up, and, you know, you said you're from this area that's so-called the ghetto, or, you know, there's a lot of poverty potentially in that area, right? How did you get yourself out of that? Like you said, there's not a lot of programs to help people do that. So how did you do that for yourself?
Absolutely. I guess, yeah, the first one was my parents. Even though we're not rich, and sometimes like my mom had to sell her clothes sometimes to enable us to stay in school and be able to go to school, because at one point they had to take us out of the public school system because things were just really that bad. And so their sacrifice and their belief in me was something that kept pushing me on. And so, and then for my dad, he always believed that, you know what, if you want it and you can study hard for it, then you can get it. And so his was, so far you study for it and you do your part, I'll do my part and do whatever it takes to help you in terms of like monetary to get things going. And so I started having this dream when I was like in high school that, you know what, I don't want to be stuck in the same system, because growing up, I was 16 then, and I realized that before I was born, they've been having this issue with education, with strike, with everything, and things have not changed. Normally, you're supposed to spend 4 to 5 years in college, right? Some people ended up spending 8 years, 9 years because of the strike. And I'm like, I don't want to be in this system.
Wow.
There has to be something better. And so I started reading books. Like then, I didn't have like a personal computer or anything. I'll go to what they call the what do you call it, the internet centers, and go and pay money just to use the internet for like 1 hour. And so I just started
the cafes.
asking questions. I started asking questions and saying, okay, what can be done better? What is out there beyond Nigeria, beyond my country? And so books were something that actually opened the door for me. So I started reading books about the likes of Ben Carson, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and the things that they were able to do with their life in spite of their background, in spite of their beginning. And so that sort of drove me on to say, you know what, my life can count for something, not just about myself or my immediate family, but I want my life to count like these other great people, and the way that they loved and the way they care for other people, and make change happen in a big way. And so I think that was the biggest thing, was my parents, and then just being willing to invest in books. And so people used to call me Iwe, which in like English translates to bookworm, because every time you're always seeing books, I'm always reading, whether it's for class or for personal development, and it has not even changed up to now. And so that really was like my escape, and I was able to see differently, and that helped me to expand my mind, and I was able to dream bigger. And so I just started believing and seeing that it was possible for me, that if these people can make it in spite of where they were born and who they were born into and what they were born into, then it is possible for me as well. I just have to do my best and like just tell the universe, this is what I want, and then do my part and believe that it will happen. And gradually it started happening.
Oh, that's so amazing. I love it. I love that, because you're looking at like, okay, I've got to develop myself first. Like now I'm getting the confidence from, you know, my family, but now I have to do it. And now you're getting like these mentors that even if, you know, you don't know them, you know what I mean, or they're not around any longer, but they're still being mentors through these books to you, which
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely amazing. Yeah. So then how did you take the next step? Because did you feel like things just started opening up because that's where you're putting your energy, or did you have to actually do something tangible then and take another step?
Yeah, I did something tangible because this is a funny story. So normally in Nigeria, after you finish high school, you're supposed to know exactly what you want to study in a university. And so you're supposed to take a national exam that will place you. And if you pass, if you do well enough, then it will place you in that path. And so I was supposed to be a doctor. Like that was my pathway. I was in science class throughout high school. And I was supposed to take this exam called JAM, G-A-M-B. And my parents paid for it, but I knew that I didn't want to study in Nigeria. And I'm like, you know what, there's no way. Because if I took that exam, I knew I was going to be stuck because my parents had the kind of view that said, oh, you can't just sit at home after a year. You have to go to school immediately. Like you have to go to the university. You can't just sit home. It's not like here that you can take a year off or something. Then in Nigeria, there was no opportunity for that. They believe that it's only if you fail, that's when you take a year off. And so I knew my parents were educators and they wouldn't like me to waste time or waste a year. And so what I did was like on the day of the exam, I went to visit my friend and just hanged out with her. When I went back home, they asked me how was the exam. I said it was perfect. It was great. A month later,
you played hooky?
Yes. A month later, the result was supposed to be out. And it's like, Tola, where is your result? And I'm like, by the way, we have to have a meeting. It's like, what meeting? Where is the result? I'm like, actually, I didn't take the exam. And they were like, oh no, my mom was like so furious with me. And she was like, what is going on? My dad was not around. So she had to call him because he was on a trip. That, can you imagine? Your daughter did not do this exam, blah, blah, blah. What are we going to do? I'm like, you know what? Everyone calm down. I have a plan. So okay, tell us. Like, I knew that if I took this exam, you're not going to take me seriously. But I don't want to study in Nigeria for my university education. And I knew that this was the only way to put you guys in the corner because I knew my parents, if I passed the exam, they'll say, you don't need any other option. So I had to take every option out of it for them and say,
wow,
this is the
you burned all the bridges, didn't you? Or all
yes, that was because I knew that for me to be what I wanted to be at that point, I believed that I needed to leave the environment first and go and learn from other people in other places and see other places first to be able to do the massive things that I was thinking in my head and those kind of things. So that was my thinking at that point. And so my friends said, okay, what do we need to do? What exams do you need to write? And so they turned their anger into what's the next step. And then I was like, okay, I need to write SAT, I need to write TOEFL, I need to apply to these schools. I said, okay, I'll pay for it. How many weeks do you have? Because they didn't want me to lose any time and they wanted me to like be able to meet the next admission. So within like 3 weeks, I had to sit for SAT and TOEFL, but I was already preparing in secret because I knew that was what I wanted. And so I sort of like had to like take the narrative and take control of my own narrative and my life, because if I knew that if I didn't do that, I was just going to be stuck on that path, and it would be hard for me to argue with my parents to say, oh, I did this exam, you passed, and now you want to change things and go somewhere else. So that was the first thing I needed to do, was to own it and say, you know what, I want this. What does it take to actually get there? So I had to create a plan. So a plan is always important in whatever you do, whether you're trying to start your nonprofit, whether you're trying to start your business. What's your plan? What's the strategy that you're going to use to be able to achieve those goals that you have in the mindset, the sort of like goals that you set for yourself as you're going along. So that was the first thing I think how I learned it. Like then I was not thinking about it like a plan, but it was actually a planning. Like this is what I want and this is how I'm going to make it happen. And so that was the first step. And then after writing the exam and just committing to say, you know what, I want this, I'll do whatever it takes. And because knowing that coming from Nigeria, the currency ratio was so high and very like outrageous. So I knew that I needed scholarship, and that was the only way that my parents would be able to like peacefully say you can go. And so I needed to study extra hard and choose the schools that I knew that they had scholarship opportunities for me. So it was not about going to the best schools, but going to the right schools that I knew that they will have the scholarship and will have the interest that I wanted to pursue as well.
And why was that so you wanted to go to in the States to school, but it was because they had programs that weren't available in Nigeria, or you just wanted to have a different experience, or like what was?
It was a combination of both. Okay. So during that period, I also realized that I didn't want to be a doctor. That the reason why I thought medicine was for me was because I wanted to help people. And I realized that helping people I didn't want to do medicine. It was not about curing their diseases or helping them feel better, like in terms of like illnesses, but more of like the emotional, the physical, the material support, those kind of things. That was more of my core in the long run. So I found out about what they call social work, and I was like, there was at that point in my country only 2 universities were offering it, and they were only offering it at the master degree level. And I was like, I didn't want to wait until it was master degree before I could do this social work, because all I knew about it was through Google. So Google has been my best friend for a long time now. And so I knew that. So I was like, you know what, I don't want to wait. I don't want to do sociology. I don't want to do psychology. I really want to like immerse myself in this social work from the start. And I knew that I can do the career out of it in the long run. And so it was the combination of, I wanted it, they didn't have the cost. And then also I wanted a new environment. I really believe that the way that young people were being taught or trained in my country was sort of like different from what was out there, and I wanted to be exposed to other way of thinking and other ways of doing things. I say, you know what, I rather compare and contrast instead of just being set in my own way, and see what can I pick from both side and what can I use to be able to create my own path.
Right. Yeah, I kind of did that as well with my master's. I went to school in Europe. So I did my bachelor's degree in the States, and then I went abroad because I wanted something different as well, like another kind of experience in academia. So, and just the degrees were different, right? So it was looking at that. So I think that, I mean, that's so brave though, for you to be like, okay, my parents, you know, they want me to go in this, they've been encouraging me, they totally support me, but I'm going to just like not do the thing. And I'm going to have courage that it's going to work out the way I want it to work out. Like, amazing. And was that a huge decision? Do you think that was a turning point in your life?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it was very, because like up to that point, like people used to laugh at me, especially even in high school, because another background I don't usually talk about was like then I had to like repeat. They call it repeat, but it's like you have to stay a year back. So when I was my freshman in high school, I transferred from a public school to a private school because things were so bad. Like sometimes out of like 8 teachers we're supposed to have in a year, we only have 4 teachers, and we still have to sit for the same exam, and we still have to pass. So my parents were like, this is enough. You cannot continue in this route. So they moved me to another school. But by the time my result and everything moved over, I was like a semester behind. So I had 2 semesters left, and they were still going to grade me across 3 semesters. They didn't care that I was coming in a semester behind. So at the end of the day, I didn't pass. I had to pass 7 subjects out of 9 to move on to the next level, and I only passed 6. Like it was just 1 point away from passing the second. So they told me that I have to repeat, and so that was also something that sort of like broke my self-esteem at that point as well. But like I said, my family was so important, and my parents were like, you know what, we believe in you. We know that you always study hard and everything. And so people when I used to tell people that, you know what, I don't want to study in my country for my university education, they used to laugh at me, and they used to call me Joseph the Dream Girl version. that no one in my family has ever traveled outside of my state. No one has ever done anything of such. That why do I think it was possible? So I think that also really motivated me. And like I said, the books and those individuals, I call them the Fabulous 5. They're still my Fabulous 5 up to now, like Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, all of them. And so those people really encouraged me, and Ben Carlson, reading his story, like and just like all of those things. And I just kept believing that it was possible for me, that if they could do it with nothing and with the resources they had, then nothing was going to stop me from being able to make that happen. So I think, yes, that was a big turning point for me, because a lot of people that were seeing that it was not possible, now they saw that it was possible. And so that was something that really also helped boost my self-esteem, because up to that point, I was still struggling with like, oh, am I good enough? Am I just a failure? Am I a dullard? I'm not brilliant, and those kind of things. So being able to sit for SAT, TOEFL, pass those examinations, apply to first school, get into all 4, that totally just gave me a different set of like belief that I was possible, and that my dreams were not just irrelevant, that it could happen. And so definitely that was a big turnaround for me for good.
Yeah. So you got into all 4 schools, so you're able to pick.
Yes.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. And eventually I went to an all-female school, which was so fun. We're like, of all schools we couldn't go to, but I loved it. I didn't care.
Yeah. So you enjoyed it. But that's fantastic. And I love that, because even in a town like, or a time when you're saying, you know, you go into the school, it really crossed your self-esteem because you had to, you know, hold back another year. But because you had those fabulous five, you had those, you know what I mean, your parents rooting for you, and you really believed it in yourself, and you knew there was something better for you, that you just still, because so many people, you know, and that's why I think you're like so amazing and inspiring, because so many people would have bought into that negative narrative, right? And I know this is just the way it is, right? And most people do that, but because you had these other things around you, these other like virtual mentors and your parents, you were able to keep pushing no matter what. So I think that's just, man, now I know so much more about you, and it totally explains your character. It's really cool because you're so committed and you're just like on fire, you know, for what you believe in. So yeah, so let's go ahead and fast forward. So then you went to school, and then, so then you were like, I need to also help other people back home. And that's when you opened your nonprofit?
Absolutely, yes. Because like the drive has always been there. Because the thing was, I still kept in touch with my friends that I left high school with, and the same thing was repeating itself over, and it was even getting worse. A lot of them, they were having strike like more than 6 months. They were out of school doing nothing, and that, and then like things were not changing. The education system was going downward, not forward or improving. And I was like, you know what? I have to like. And then one thing I learned at my university, then the president, her name was President Caroline Whitson, and she said leadership was not a position you hold, but the difference you make at whatever point you find yourself. And that stuck with me. It's like, I don't have to wait until I am the president, because that's what we were taught when we were growing up in my country. Like, oh, you have to have a lot of money, you have to have a big position before you can make change happen. But while I was here in the university and doing my bachelor's, it was a different entirely. I saw young people doing great things, and it didn't matter whether they had a position or not. It was just the passion and the drive that was going through. And so I realized that, you know what, I don't have to wait until I finish my education before I say, oh, now I'm ready to help. That what can I do right now with what I have, with support and collaboration from other people who are like-minded, who have the passion for what I care about, and let's see what we can make happen. And so I started designing the program or the ideas of it during my senior year for my undergraduate. And then once I only had a summer break, and then I had to start my master's. And so it was during my master's, I was like, you know what, I'm now going to really do, like, we didn't have to do a thesis, but we can create whatever we wanted. And so I was like, you know what, that was going to be my own project, is to like design and create a program that was evidence-based, because that was one of the biggest things that we were taught, was like, don't just do something out of passion, like check with the community you're trying to help. Is this really needed? What has been done? What has not been done? What has caused this not to work if it has been done before? And what can you do better? And so the first half of my master's degree was sending email back and forth in Nigeria. So we did like surveys, we did focus group with teachers, with educators, with leaders, with students, with their parents. What are the needs? What are the challenges? What is going on? What we like to see that is not there? And so based on like over 1,000 feedback that we got through the surveys, and and that was all we now did to now say, you know what, I now have to sort through it for another semester to figure out, okay, now what are the big things that we need to pick up? 3 things. If we were to do 3 things out of all of these big issues, what would they be, and what will we represent as an organization? And so that was how Jumpstart Dream Academy was backed in a way. So I was still here in the US, but we were doing all the testing. So I had a group of young people, because they were out of school, they were on strike, they've not finished, and they were like, okay, there was nothing they were doing, they were just sitting at home. So you know what, I will hire you. So I was paying some of them like $5, but to them that was a lot of money then. Yeah. And they were like, this, I will do it. And they had the passion also. So that was like, it was like the best of both worlds. So I was helping them to feel fulfilled, to feel as if their life mattered. At the same time, they were able to like take care of their needs and be able to like go from point A to point B as well.
I love that, because you're looking at doing a focus group, and you're able to like connect with these people, right, and your partners, and being able to at least give them some incentive to go through with the study, which is really important, right? So and then what happened? So you decided like what was needed for that area.
Absolutely.
What's kind of happening?
So one of the things that we decided was like, wait, they needed help with academics, because when we look at the national exam they had to sit for, like 90% of them were failing year in, year out. For the past 10 years, there was record that was showing that things were just going down and down and nothing was improving. Then another thing I realized that was missing also was this idea of like character development, and like this idea of leadership and service. Because a lot, when we did like a survey to say, oh, what we like to be in the future, and what do you think about like leadership. Say, oh, if you're a leader, you must be a governor, you must be a politician, you must be a banker. Like that was what the young people were telling us about what who a leader was and when they think they can lead. And then also the academic situation was really bad, because then before you can graduate high school, you have to sit for a national exam and write about 9 subjects. And for most of these young ones, they have to spend 3 years in high school. Right from the freshman year, they only had like 6 teachers that were consistent. The other 3, like, and then each year, like maybe they may have a teacher for physics and chemistry and biology. The next year, they will not have a teacher for biology. They will not have a teacher for physics. They will not have a teacher for math. And it doesn't matter. They have to sit for the same national examination. They don't care whether or not they were in school, whether they covered the whole curriculum. And so that was, and then also another thing was a lot of them, they have good role models to look up to. And so that was another thing that was also critical. I was like, they wish they had someone, because most of them would be the first in their family to hopefully finish secondary school and have the chance of going to college. And so they didn't have anyone to look up to. And then there was this also struggle between, is education worth it? Because at the end of the day, most people in my country, they can't get a job after they finish, and even if they go to college. And so it's like, what is even the point of wasting the time and energy if at the end of the day there'll be no job waiting for me? And so it was a combination of a lot of things. And so what we decided to do was like, you know what, these are big problems, we cannot address it all at once. And so we created the program to be like a 3-year program. So we're going to work with them right from when they were in freshman in college, once they get accepted into whatever degree path they distribute them into, and then we'll provide that extra support of having them have extra academic support. And then also we'll provide leadership training and teach them what does it mean to be a leader, what does it mean to build character, what does it mean to give back to the community. And then last but not the least, we decided that we also need to teach them about entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, this idea of like, what can you use your hand? How can you use technical and vocational education to learn something and earn something? So because the truth is, even if they do well and they finish academically, the chance of going to college is so slim, because there is no scholarship, there is no loan for most of them, like it is here in the US that you can just get a loan and get scholarship to go to college. No way. It's either your parents have to plan for it, and if they don't plan for it, then you're on your own. And so we realized that we had to start helping them think about that, like, okay, what if college is not for you right now for the next 2 years? What does that look like? What can you do instead of just sitting around idle? And so we started teaching them about technical and vocational training and like some business training. So you know what if you learn how to braid hair? What if you learn how to do makeup? What if you learn how to sew a cloth? What if you learn how to do computer ICT, and start developing those trainings, so that even if you finish your high school and you can get a job, you have some skill set you can use to earn and then save towards that college later in the next 1 year or in the next 2 years. And so those are the core things that we focused on and we started doing. And then we also had mentors who they can talk to and just be able to like say, you know what, I'm struggling with this. Will you be able to call me or come and speak to me at the center and just have a talk to say, okay, these are my challenges. How can I go about it? And how can I ensure that it doesn't derail my success or my pathway as I keep growing as well? And so it was a lot of things. And we realized that if we did one and we left out the rest, it was still going to be imbalanced. And so we realized that we had to do all of it at different points in time across the 3 years that we had the student with us. And so that was what we did. So the first year was mostly focused on the academics, because most of them, when they come into our program, they were either D student, F student. We took all students, some were B, some were just doing okay. And then the goal was that after 6 months, they will have increased their grade. Then after a year, they will have at least jumped 2 grades. And we saw that happening as well. Then the second year, and then during that period, we're still on Saturdays, we did the leadership training with them. So for 2 hours, they'll come together, learn from people, and then watch videos or movies like about the lives of different people, like My Family of Five, or even like the Bee, like any inspiring movies that about children or young people that build character. We'll find it and we'll have a discussion after it. What did they learn? What did they see? That in spite of the child's struggle, how did she make it through? And just let them explore those questions and see for themselves that it was possible for them to rise beyond any situation they were part of. And then so we did that as well with them. And then in the second year, that was when we now started them on learning a trade. and like building that trade skill. So once we know that their academics have improved, because we still wanted to focus on that. We didn't want to say, oh, you don't need education. You need education, but at the same time, you need something extra. So we started them first with academics and getting that right. And then gradually we moved them onto the technical and vocational education and training as well.
That's so well-rounded. I mean, that's an amazing program. And like, even throughout this time, have some of the schools gone back on strike, but you've continued to work with them on their academics so then they don't fall behind?
Yes, absolutely. And they love that, because the truth was, even if the school or the system was down, we were always on. And so they knew that we were different, that no matter what happens, well, if there's an issue with their school, they have a place to come to. A lot of them also in their schools, they didn't have library. And in my state, even up to now, we don't have a state library or a city or library or anything. So we found that we had a big room that was just about library. So if they just want to come and read, whether it's fictional, academic, they had access to books and those kind of things as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. And how many people have gone, or students have gone through the program so far?
So we've had over 1,000 now that have gone through. Like, it's just, yeah, like I look back and it's so crazy. Like most of them, some of them have even graduated college. Some are really, some are working now. Some are doing some business things or social entrepreneurship things. And it's just really incredible to see like these young ones. Like I was looking at pictures some days ago and I'm like, I cannot believe it that we were so young and so, and like it's so beautiful to see their progression and to see the change that they didn't believe in themselves. And now they're like leaders in their own right, in their own community, in their own school, at their own university. And those that have graduated now, they are like, they have finished college and now they're exploring careers and those kind of things. And it's just, I still have some of them that I keep in touch on a WhatsApp group, and we just check in, like we just do like, even sometimes we do some virtual training, even despite this COVID-19, to say, you know what, we're bringing somebody to come and speak to you about whatever topic they want us to discuss. But yeah, it has been absolutely amazing to be able to do that and just see the growth and see the change, and like, yeah, absolutely.
That's so cool. So, and that's, once again, that's a Jumpstart Dream Academy, and I'll definitely put a link in the show notes. So you guys check it out if you want more information about the nonprofit that Tella started and continues to run. So that kind of like, that gave you the experience then to figure out, okay, this is how a nonprofit runs. Like we need to find funding, we need to do everything, other things, you know, to make it actually work. Is that what got you interested then in opening the funding magnet? Absolutely, yes. Because I realized that, so like I said, between 2012 and up to 2016, I was the grant writer, the CEO, the mentor. I was doing a lot of things, and I still have I have some team members, but I still have to be the one responsible for the structure, the funding and everything. And I realized that a lot of nonprofits, especially like funders, they start out of passion, not because I was lucky that I got the training and I had the educational background to sort of back me up. But for most people who are starting out, it was born out of a need, out of a passion, out of a problem that they realize that I want to solve. So sometimes they're not equipped with the right skill set to enable them to run something sustainable and profitable. And I also had my challenges. I would not, like when I was starting, like at one point I was borrowing money, using all my savings, because we were relying on only one source of income. And then when something happened and it didn't come true, we were stuck. And we had like over 250 families relying on us. And I'm like, I cannot just close this down and say, sorry, that's the end of our program. And so that really taxed me. So for 1 year, I sort of committed my own personal funding. And like my mom was tired of me borrowing money from her. And I was working from like 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. She's like, I don't understand. You keep giving, you don't have time for yourself, you're not getting paid, you're borrowing money. Why? Like, won't you go and do something better? And so all of those experiences and all of the things I went through, the mistakes I made and the correction I was able to do after all really helped me to like say, you know what, this is the big need. And I started mentoring some young ones who were also trying to start their own nonprofit, because everybody was asking us, can you come to our state? Can you come to our country? Can you come? Like, no, like we're still figuring ourselves out. And I really believe that it's not about one size fit all. You have to really understand the context of where you're doing. So I didn't want the kind of program that said, oh, let's just use it in another state without even exploring what is their own problem or what is their need. It might look good on paper because it's working for us where we are, but that does not mean that it can easily translate to another country. So we're getting requests from Ghana, from
Cote d'Ivoire, from all over the country saying, please help us, come and do it now. And so what I said was like, no, I'll just mentor you and give you ideas of what you can do and how you can get started. And so other people started their own little project or their own, what they call programs as well. But I realized at the end of the day, we'll keep coming, we need funding. How do we fund it? How do you fund yours? And so that all of those questions were coming up, or like structure. How do you help your team? How do you get committed members? How do you monitor? How do you evaluate? And I realized that so many people, they don't have the skill set. They don't understand all of these things and all of these behind the scene things that we had to do to be able to do this work and do it effectively and do it well. And so that sort of like now created a new passion in me that, you know what, it's not enough for me to have my own organization and be doing well. We still need this sector, because the truth is, like, in spite of what the government is doing anywhere across the country or even across the world, we still need people who will be able to do this work, because it's never going to be enough. And so I was like, you know, I want to equip other people, other funders who might not necessarily have the background or the experience that I have had, and just ensure that it's possible to run a sustainable and a profitable one. But there are some principles that you have to do, and there's some steps you have to take to ensure that it can happen. And so that was sort of what created that for me, was because I was tired of hearing all of these sad stories of like, oh, they started and now they had to stop, or things didn't go well. And so it was just like, and I'm like, it is possible. It's not impossible. Yes, it will take some taxing, it will take some of your investments, but it can happen, and it's worth it. And so, and then I was tired of all people reporting, oh, we helped 5,000 people, when in the true sense, maybe only 5 or 10 people or 100 lives were really changed. And so like all of those kind of things sort of like just really bet this passion of like, you know what, I want to help people run profitable and sustainable charities. I know that it is possible, and I have done it. I struggled, and I'm happy to share all of my own mistakes and all the things I did to correct it as well. And just like saying, you know what, it is not impossible, but it's going to take some things from you. But at the end of the day, you can look back and say, you know what, I'm so glad I continue on this path, and I'm so glad I asked for the help that I needed to make it happen. And so that was how the passion was like came up for me. And I was like, you know what, I need to create a different agency that sort of help younger nonprofits to just grow them and help them to create the right structure and the right setting to just effectively grow and develop, so that they can do this wonderful work, because we need them there. It's like what the Bible says, that the harvest is a lot, but the laborers are few. And so there's so many people that need the help, but not enough of people doing this work and doing it well. And for those that are doing it now, I don't want them to give up. I don't want them to feel so dejected to say, you know what, I can't do it, it's too hard. And like, yes, it might be challenging, but it is worth it, and you can do it well, and you can thrive. And so that's sort of what the funding magnet is about. It's like, you know what, I will help you to attract everything you need, help you to find, train you, and teach you on how to be able to do this and do it well, and continue to do this wonderful work that you're doing.
Right. Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. And you do that a lot through, you have different digital products, and then you also do services. So like direct service work with people, so they can hire you as a consultant to do that. So those are different ways that you can definitely help. And just as a quick shout out too, you're also giving all the listeners here today a free downloadable, which is the Grant Funding Made Easy. Did you just want to talk about that real quick?
Absolutely. So one of the things I keep hearing, like because in the past 4 months, I've spoken to like more than like 300 nonprofit funders across 25 countries. And it's the same thing that I keep hearing, from France to South Africa to even in the US to Nigeria to Tanzania to Ethiopia to Uganda. It's the same question of like, even the UK is like, I don't know how to apply. I know that there are grants out there, but I don't know. Every time I apply, I don't get it, or I don't even know which one is right for me. And so that sort of like inspired me to sort of create a guide. And so what I started with was to have like 3 to 5 major tips of like, before you even apply for any grant, what do you need to do? And because a lot of people, they see grant and then they run to it and say, let me just apply. And it's like, no, Have you
Nope.
even identified if they are the right funder for you? Does your mission and what they want to do, does it align together? Have you even taken the time to understand what is in the proposal, what is required? Do you have all the documents, all the requirements that you need beyond just writing the proposal? There are other little things that is required. Have you registered right? Do you have your financial statement? Those kind of things. Because a lot of people, they don't think about that. Just think grant money. Oh, let me just apply. And then they waste their time and their energy. Then at the end of this, like, why did they say no? And like it goes back to the beginning. Did you check and did you do your due diligence to make sure that you are a perfect fit for them as well? And so that was sort of what back that, you know what, I keep hearing this question over and over again, and I'm sort of like tired of like having to explain to say this is what you need to do. So I was like, no, why not just write it down?
That's right.
Kind of have a checklist of what you need to check for before you even write again. Then beyond that, I took it a step further. So I found 5 different grant opportunity that anyone anywhere in the world, like whether in the US or even for individuals, even for businesses, and even for nonprofits, you can apply to and you have the link, you have the name, you have the amount of money that might be awarded as well.
So you're kind of like, here's the low-hanging fruit.
Exactly.
There's something that you can at least start with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so that was what sort of like backed that. And I was like, you know what, you use this guide. If you follow it, your chance of getting a grant is going to be definitely higher than if you were having failures before in the past. And so that was what was the genesis for that.
I love it. Yeah, so you guys can definitely visit the show notes so you can get that free downloadable, and usually it's $30, so definitely do grab that. So thank you so much, Tella, for that. And then, yeah, also, I just wanted to touch base also that we met originally because you enrolled for my freelance grant writing master course, the beta. So it was when I first was developing it, I was like, I had a beta course available. So you jumped in on that, and you kind of went back and forth on it a little bit. I remember this because I had an application process. In the beginning, you're like, you know what, I just can't do this right now at this time, but I'm interested. And then you like came back right before it closed, and you're like, forget it, I'm doing this. I think that goes back to your like, I'm gonna do things even if it like you gotta like, you're like one of those like, I'm gonna do things and it's gonna happen. So is that kind of like what the process was for you on making that decision? Because I think that was just so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So the background story was like I said, I've been doing freelance and everything, but I was thinking of starting full-time the Funder Magnet. And for me, I really believe in learning, and I didn't think that just because I had some knowledge and educational background, I felt like maybe some of the things I knew, there might be newer things, and that some things might be outdated. And for me to be the best for my clients or my potential clients, I figured that it was best for me to invest in something that will help me upgrade my skill set. Even if it's something that I've learned before, it's just good to like refresh and get that going. And so when I came across the course and everything, I was like, this is perfect for me. I need this. And then it was like, oh my God, the investments, like, oh Jesus. And just even a lot at that point. And I'm like, oh God, this is like something that I'm just starting out. I'm still in school. Like I said, then I was still doing my PhD. And I was like, things were a bit tight. And I was like, you know what? Like, I really want this. This is going to be good for me. This is going to help me, and this is going to help my clients in the future. And so, yes, there was that process of like, oh, this is so good. Let me do it. I was like, oh, the investment. And I think that's the problem with some nonprofit funders. Like, we know that it's good for us, but we're like, oh God, I don't think it's what, but I can tell you, I am so, like, that was the best decision I made in 2019. Like, I will not even lie. Like, it has totally helped me, and like what it has brought my way, and like so much, like even the amount that Ollie was charging, like I think she should have times 5 it would have been worth it, because that was like, it totally changed everything for me, my business. Then I was still struggling. No matter what I did, I was not really getting clients and everything, but Ollie just bared her heart out. Like, like some people, they will have a method that works and they don't want to share it with you and say, you know what, let me just give you a little bit. But Ollie was like, let me give you everything.
Yeah, so like, here it is on the
table. Like, it was so much, and it was so valuable, and she made it like in a way that we could like digest it and like keep going back to it and take what we need at whatever point we needed it at the same time. And so, yes, even though at that point it was a big investment to me, I am so glad that I finally said, you know what, I am going to do this. Because for me, I believe I'm a learner. I even took the strength finder like a month ago, and that was still like, I am a learner. I really believe in learning, and then using that knowledge and applying it to help myself or to help my client be better. So absolutely, like, that was like the best decision I made. And like, I'm so grateful. Like, and if you've not taken it, please go and get it now. Unfortunately, right?
Well, how much has that, because you invested in it and it's not cheap. That's my highest priced one. And even at the beta price, that was like $9.97. So it's a huge price. And I get it. But, you know, what I saw was people can have a really high return on investment for this. So for you personally, like, what's your return on investment been? Have you made
back? As of now, I've made over 15,000.
Yay!
So like, it has been like, and then the beauty was that like I said, Ollie showed us so many different ways, even whether you're a non-profit or you're a freelance or a consultant, it is what it's like, because you get the best of both worlds. Like, especially if you're a non-profit and you're thinking of how can I diversify my stream of income? Like, everything you need to know is there as well. And then if you're also a consultant and you're like, you know what, I don't just want to do the service alone. Like, it's taking too much of my time. What else can I do? Like, she taught me how to create digital product, like passive things that even if I'm sleeping, I can still earn from it, and how to set it up and those kind of things as well. And so with a combination of that, so I really have like 3 core like digital product that I've had, but through them, like consistently, even if I don't like, it's just set up on my store, like on my online store, and then people can have access to it and go purchase them. And then when I have clients as well, I can say, you know what, I really want to work with 3 clients this month, and this is what it will look like, or I only want to work with 2. And so even if I'm not doing a lot of like done for you services, due to the digital product, the consulting that I've built into it, that is also like always like reoccurring revenue streams that are coming as well. So if you're still like on the fence, go and do it now, because I really think Ollie should like double that price it is right now, because it is way worth it. And I'm so glad, because yes, Ollie was right. I was like, should I not? I'll email her and say this, and then I was like, oh no, and then I'll email her again. Like, you know what, I'm just going to do it.
I'm so glad. Yeah, because
I'm so glad that I did it.
Yeah, I mean, you had so much growth. And I think a lot of what I've seen too is, like you said, you were able to identify and really get clear on what you were offering. And now you're making money while you sleep, which is fantastic. Like, you're still making money in person-to-person things, but you're developing products that create revenue for you, that you know what I mean? While you're spending time with your kids, like while you're doing the things that are important to you and your life, or on your nonprofit, right? So, and I know we worked together on ideas on how to help your nonprofit as well. So we worked together on some great ways to come up with revenue for them. So you're able to also get money for your nonprofit through this, which is fantastic. Yeah. So, and that was about to your partnerships, right?
Yes. But sorry, repeat that again.
When you for reaching out to your partnerships to be able to raise money for your nonprofit.
Yes, yeah, that was another thing. Yes, so part of the cost, like, which I think is like a lot, was Ellie also gave us opportunity to do one-on-one with her beyond just all the cost materials and everything. And so what we focused on for mine was on like, how do I raise more partnership and like get the best of both worlds. And so through that, like within the, even it was like less than 2 weeks or so that I was tired of the cost, I got a $5,000 commitment based on what Ollie told me to do and share with me. So even if you're not taking the course, if you just need an hour consult with Ollie, do it. Like, it is what it is. Last week I did one with you, right? Last week. So I keep coming back for her, because everything she says, like, it's always golden and it works, and the investments that you do, like, it's much more than what you get if you apply what she tells you to do. And so absolutely. And so it was just really, really great to see that tribe. And then now, like, some of the things that she shared with me in the ideas that I am using to work for my own nonprofit. So when nonprofit comes to me now, because I've done it, I've tested it, I know that it's work, I've fine-tuned it and created my own framework around it, I can now help my client to be better. But if she didn't open my eyes or push me towards that, or if I didn't take that course, I'll still be like sort of like struggling and like being in, like the rat in the wheel that is just going round and round in circle without any direction in a way. And so like it was just like so many light bulb moments that occurred during that period, and having that course and being able to work with Ollie and just hearing from our own wealth of experience. And like, you know what, I want to be like her when I grow up. Like, I'm not there yet. Gradually, like, she's like, now I should say, like, I have the Fab 6 now, it's no longer Fab 5. So have the 5-6 now, so Oli is now part of them too. And so
well, I want to be like you too. Like, you're amazing. Like, throughout this whole process, you finished your dissertation and became a doctor. Like, that's so impressive to me. And you have a family, you have young kids, you have a nonprofit, and you're still so passionate about it because you're like, okay, I want to work on my business, but I also need to work on this. So we were like, okay, let's do low-hanging fruit. Let's see who your partners already are. Let's do a quick fundraising challenge. And then, like you said, within 2 weeks after, we talked for 30 minutes or for an hour, bam, within you had $5,000 because you had all of the things there. It just wasn't like connecting, right? Like, it wasn't the strategy in place, but it was like, let's just create this strategy and then do it. And then even with your own business, it's the same thing. You have all this drive, you have platforms, but it was like, but you have so many things going on. It's a little, it's not all together. So let's just bring it together and really be clear. And then you're able just to spin it like that, which was fantastic. And I think another thing, I hope you kind of can talk about this a little bit, because I think it's so important, and it goes back to maybe that time where, maybe you had to stay back another year, and it's the same thing like charging, right? A lot of times I'm like, you got to charge more. You got to charge more, Tola, like, for what you're offering. You have so much to offer the world, and I know it's hard. And I want you to speak about this for a little bit, because a lot of people come to me that are freelance grant writers, and they're like, but the nonprofits I want to work with they're the startup nonprofits and they don't have any money. So should I just do free services, or should I charge really low? Can you kind of talk about that? Because I think I've seen a lot of this area.
Yes. Yeah. Because this is very important. And like I said, Oli has really grown my muscle in being able, I'm still not there. Like, cause like you said, she's like, you still have to charge more, but I'm like, you know what, Oli, just give me some time. Can you keep growing this muscle? But absolutely, this is what I've seen. I've noticed something is like, people don't really place value on if you give everything for free. So I'll give you an example. So I used to and thanks, Oli was one that helped me stop these habits, so, which was not like, so I used to give free 30-minute consultation that I would I'll wake up at 4 a.m. Normally I used to wake up about 2:30 a.m. But I take some time out to myself and plan my day. Then by 4 a.m. I start picking calls or calling people that have scheduled calls with me. And some will pick, and then only 10% they will not answer the call, and later they'll say, "Oh, sorry, I was busy." I'm like, no, I don't have any time for you again. But anyways, right. So but the thing is, I did a survey afterward, because I always I'm a researcher. I have to say, okay, now that you've had the call with me, I've given you some, and then I don't hold back. Like the way Oli taught me, I give them so much good things, because I understand what they're going through. Like, I ask questions to say, okay, what have you tried? What have you not tried? And through that, then I will have done some research before they even get on the call with me myself to say, okay, right, I have an understanding before and everything. Then guess what? 90% of these people, they didn't do it. Not because they don't have any knowledge. And then before then, they will come to you, I have this problem, I have this challenge. But then I spent my own time, like somebody did the calculation for me and said, see how much of money you're wasting each year. But I don't want to look at it that way. But that was interesting to me. Like, are you kidding me? That you said you have this problem. I came up with a strategy that can actually work if you actually applied it. And then they didn't apply.
They just disappear. Totally ghosted you.
And then so that sort of made me realize that, you know what? And anyone that is really serious and they want their nonprofit to work, it is an investment. And like I said, even though all this cost was $997, then it looked like the word to me. It was like, oh my God, this is like $1 million in a way. But I pushed myself. I know that this is worth it. I know that in the long run, and now see the results now. I've earned more than 15,000, which honestly I believe that without it I will not even be here or anything. And so it is an investment. So you have to help them realize, what are they missing out of if they don't invest in you. So
and because it was so much to you, right? Because it is a high price.
Exactly.
It's a lot. People show up. Because it's that price, people will show up, they'll do it, then they'll actually make the return.
Absolutely. Exactly. You have to hold them accountable to their dream, to their goals, to what they say they really want. Because some people, I realize, is like, they say they want something, but really, do they really, really want it? And so it's like, it's not enough to want it. Like, are they going to do what they need to do? Because to actually make it happen. Because like I said, it's not just easy. Just because we're a grant writer, we're a consultant, doesn't mean that just because you hire us, all your problem is solved. No, there are still some things that you have to do on your part to work together with us. We're a team to make it happen. If we do our part and you don't do your part, then you might not get the result that you want. So let me give you an example. I had a client that apparently for 5 years, she has been running a nonprofit all by herself. No one has ever funded her. Her board, non-existence. No matter the grant she applied to, nothing. So she decided to, you know what, I'm going to make this investment. And so she signed up for a 3-month contract with me, saying, you know, for the next 3 months, help me. Because I always tell people, don't expect anything until after 90 days. I don't lie and say, you know what, within 2 weeks that you hire me, things are going to be great.
Right.
No, I tell them,
it takes time.
Give yourself, give me 90 days at least before you can start getting the result. But guess what? Last week, Friday, I saw an email message on my Facebook saying that, I'm so excited to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? So I gave her a call and said, what's happening? She was like, you know what? I've been waiting to share this news with you. Guess what? Just the what you told me to apply. I've had now 3 people committed to giving me 1,500. That has never happened, and they were writing out the check. So in less than 1 month, and that was just like a bonus offer that I gave her. That was not even the core offer that I'm working on. Those are still in the process, and we're waiting for the result. She was able to get $4,500 back, and that was amazing. Like times more than the investment she's paying me per month. And I'm like, see, like I'm like, it is worth it. Like if you do it and if you apply those steps. So if you know that these people are good and they know what they have, what you need, don't be afraid to make that investment. They will not lie to you. And that's the thing I tell people. That's why I like to have an application, or like all you have to do is to say, are you right for me? Am I right for you? If I think that you're not right for me, I'll show you to other people, say, I think you should go work with this person, or you should go talk to this person, or you should take this course. So the point is not to take your money. Like honestly, the value of what we give you is more than the money that you can ever pay us. But we do it because of the joy. We do it because we want to help this sector grow. And we know that you people are valuable and important to this sector. And this is how we can support you with our strength, with our expertise, and encourage you and just keep you going in that path and let you not worry about those set of things that give you headache. But for us, it gives us joy to do it. And taking those headache from you so that you can really focus on the mission and the vision and do what you love, and take away the ones that gives you headache, and we do that because it gives us joy. And so no matter what the investment might be, it is worth it. It is in your best interest. And I tell people, like, think of it as running like a for-profit business. That's how you should think of running a non-profit. Don't just think because it's in the non-profit sector, everything should be free, everything should be low quality, everything should be undervalued. No, you're not doing yourself or the people that you're serving any good by thinking that way, by reflecting that way and saying, no, I'm not going to invest. It's garbage in, garbage out. If you invest in a $10 grant writer per hour, the results you might get might not be great. But according to research, it shows that if you actually invest in the right grant writer or the grant writing services, your result is like ×5. That's what the research is showing as of last year, that you get ×5 return. So it is an investment. See it as something that is valuable, that can produce more than you can ever imagine in the long run. But in the beginning, it will cost you something. We are not going to lie about that and say that, but it is going to be worth it.
And the thing is that woman who signed up with you and invested, she would have just done the free thing, or how you talked about you're doing all these free services. You're saying based on the research, then 90% would show up. So she might not have even done the strategies you had taught her to do, right? So that's the thing. It's like investing really makes people show up. Right? If they're not investing, like you said, you're investing all your time, waking up, before 4 a.m. to get ready for these free consultation calls, and then the people not even showing up, or they're not taking, they're not even getting back to you because they just don't have value in it if it's free, like a lot of people don't. So it's really using that psychology to say, like, I'm going to charge, and plus it's your time. You are waking up and you are putting your time into this, and you could be doing something else, right? So I think that's really important to say. It's your time and you're showing up for it. And one thing, I go back to when I was just doing consultation for free to, you're getting to know you kind of things, your discovery calls. And I'd have to sometimes pay for a babysitter for my daughter. I'd have to do all these other things. And, and I had to invest my time. I was saying no to potentially working on something that came in for money and saying yes to something that was free. And 9 times out of 10, like you, they wouldn't show up. They would be late. They wouldn't respect me. But as soon as I started charging for that, I had fewer people sign up for it, but I had the right people and they respected it. And then I showed up 110%. So that's what I always tell you guys too, is, you have to understand where you feel comfortable in charging, of course, right? It's not just like everyone should charge like $1,000, like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, you need to still let them show you that you have value. So it's almost like for them to show, to feel like they can show up and that you would show up too. What's it going to cost you to show up 110% to that meeting, right? And I even say on those discovery calls, you can always just roll in. You can tell them, if you decide to hire me, I can roll that amount in. So then it can become quote unquote free, but it's still investing into that product and it's investing into your time initially. If it doesn't work out, you've gained something.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, because when I did it, somebody emailed me back to say, but this is unfair. How can you be charging us? We're in the nonprofit sector. So I did exactly that. So,
you'll get some of those.
Like, especially during this COVID-19 and everything, like I still, like, because now that my children cannot go to daycare, I have somebody in my apartment complex that can come to watch them. That's still $30 an hour. So imagine having like 4 hours of call back to back, because usually sometimes I might have 12 calls in a day, and then let's say 8 of them show up, and then at the end of the day, now finding out that they didn't even bother to apply it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I paid somebody to watch. I could have spent that quality time with my kid. I could have used it like study or catch up on the training or the courses that I'm trying to use to do professional development. So, and so like that really just opened my saying, what, if you really want it, if you really desire it, nothing is going to stop you to do whatever it takes to get it. And when you do it and when you show up for it, then things are going to work out in one way or form to help you make sure you get that return on your investment. But most people, like I said, sometimes they're not ready for what they want. They think they want it, and then when you say, okay, this is the way, let me help you, or this is the price for it, they run away and say, oh, no way, I don't want this price for the price that I want. So it's like, what price, PRICE, will you pay for the price, PRIZE? So there is always going to be a cost. It might not be every time money, but it might be time, it might be, but you need to be willing to show up for it and do it as well. And know that, yes, we love this sector. We want to help you. The best way we can do that is to hold you accountable to that dream and help show you the way, not lie to you to say, oh, we'll do it for free. When we know that in all instances, we're not showing up as 100%, or we're not showing up the best we can to help you. So yeah, absolutely. So it's really important that you should invest in yourself. You should invest in your growth development. And the research shows the more nonprofit that invest in their fundraising effort, whether through hiring a grant writer or consulting someone to help them, you will get the return back. If you do it right, you always get the return back.
Always a just return. Yeah. And then how do you feel, because this might be some of the fear too of people to say, well, if I charge, then nobody's gonna hire me. Or do you feel like you have fewer clients now, or do you have more clients now that you're charging more?
Actually, like I love where I am right now. So I will be honest, like last month was like the biggest time that I had like a lot of like most of the chunk of the money. Like so, like I have 2 young children, so it has been like some, and then with the digital product and everything. So in last month, I was able to bring in over 10,000, and it was through just 4 clients. So
that's amazing. That was May of 2020 when people
and that was just for the month of May alone. That was like I said, my clients are 3-month contracts, so that means like every single month at least that is guaranteed. Of like
that's amazing.
And so it's not about the big number of people. It's about who are the right people for you, the right fit for you, that you know that they will do their part. And when you do your part, the result is going to be exponential. And then also the digital product. So that's another. So even while you're waiting for these big one-time or contract kind of done for you services, work on your digital product, work on those smaller, low tickets, but they can be reoccurring and keep coming over and over again that you can now use. And then who knows, you can make 10,000, 20,000 out of those digital products if you do it right and you market it right. And so even while you're waiting for those big ticket clients or people to come, don't think that, oh, it's a waste, or like, oh, your time, you're not getting anything. Work on other parts of your businesses. Start thinking, okay, what other outreach, where can I go to, who can I, what services is a need that I can create that does not require my time or my energy and can keep bringing in this income over and over again. So that's something I did while I was waiting for this, because like Ali said, it was not easy. At first I was like thinking like, let me go back to the free course, let me do it for free again and feel as if I'm doing something that I'm useful. But I had to say no. Like I had to like catch myself saying no. You need to another part of your business that you've not been paying attention to. I need to restructure different things and everything, and then start creating the digital product that I know that will be valuable and that I can always market. Even if maybe they did the call and they didn't want the full big service, I can say, you know, you can start with this digital low ticket and apply it. If it works for you, they will always come back to you for the big one. Like, well, if this small one can bring me this return, what will happen if I actually sign up for this high ticket one that she's offering me as well? And so that's what I would say is like, don't think that, oh, because it's not like it will happen, but just stay consistent. Keep working on yourself, keep working on your business, take training. That's what I've been doing. Like yesterday and today, I spent time like watching a whole brand new training and just like trying to upgrade my skill set and those kind of things. And it has been a joy. I love it. I'm like, now I don't have to wake up. If I don't want to wake up at 2:30 a.m., I still do, but it's not because, oh, I'm trying to do some, no, it's like because of the joy of like, I just want to keep that as an habit and just because, like I said, I have on the 2 children under 4, and so if they wake up, things can break loose. So I'm like, let me do all I can do before they wake up, and that way, even if things happen during the day that I didn't plan for, I won't feel bad because I've done most of the things I need to do to have a good day in the long run. But yeah,
I love that. Yeah, now you have fewer clients, but you have more money coming in and you have more time with your kids.
Absolutely.
And you have more time to focus on what you love. So I mean, that's amazing that you've been able to implement all of these strategies and say, this is how it's working for me. And now you're like, okay, I'm at 15 grand, but I have 2 more months where I have guaranteed monies coming in the door. Plus I have digital products, and then I can get more clients if I want. So now you have more freedom and you have more resources showing up. So I just, man, that's so exciting. I'm so excited and I'm so proud of you. I really am. Yeah, I know what it takes. Like, it's not easy for one, just being a mom in general. And then, you know, even this pandemic, it's like, you know, you're saying May's your best month, where, you know, a lot of people who haven't really taken a hold of their lives, you know, they're out of jobs now and they don't really know how to deal with this. So you've been setting yourself up so no matter what happens in your environment, you are able to take care of your family. And I really commend you on that. So I know it's taken a lot, but man, you're such an inspiration. So I appreciate you so much. And I'm so glad you're in my course and you're in my membership, and we're just staying a part of this, because I just can't wait to see you grow more and more and more. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't trade the membership or like I said, like that was like the catalyst for me, because I knew that I've been trying things and things were not working. And for me, I'm like, what's the point of doing the same thing over and over again and still getting the same results? Like, if this, like, let me just do it. And so even though I was like hesitant in the beginning, I was like, I know this is good for me. I just have to push myself. And I was like, what will it take? And like, once I calculated and say, you know what, this is what it's going to cost me, I just went for it. Honestly, sometimes you just have to push yourself into those things and say, you know what, is either sink or swim. And then you don't know, the only way is up. You will not
taking the doctor test.
Yes. And so I am so grateful for this. And like, I'm so thankful that my partner, like I said, like, she's now part of the Fab 6, because I'm just like, I'm like, this is for life. Like, I cannot even, like, there's no way, because like, she has really, really up there. Like I said, she doesn't hold back. She will tell you the truth. She will tell you, and it's now up to you to whether apply it or not and do what you have to do. But she will show you the way. She will create the map for you and say, have you done this? Have you tried this? Let's explore this way. And if you do it, you're going to get the result. You will definitely get the result. So invest in all, whether it's consulting, whether it's any of our courses, your life is going to be changed forever and for good. And so do not even hesitate on it. If you're still on the fence, just do it. I promise you, you are going to be, like, your results are going to be up and up and up and up.
Oh, thanks. I love that advertisement. That's so good. And also with Tala, if you guys are looking for different products, do check out her site, The Funding Magnet, and that's THE, so The Funding, FUNDING, and then Magnet, MAGNET, right? That's how you spell magnet? Yes. All right, give myself a check real quick. All right, it's one of those words. Is it really spelled the way you think? Okay, so thefundingmagnet.com. Check her out. It's fantastic, everything she has to offer. And once again, Dr. Tala, she has a great, the grant funding made easy, downloadable for all of you guys, and she's offering it at no cost to all of you guys, and that's because there's a strategy behind that. But definitely, it is a $30 product. Do check it out, because as she says, I give value, she gives tons of value too, like does not hold back. You will not be disappointed. Do check out everything that she has to offer. And once again, I'm just so excited that you're on the podcast today. I really appreciate you coming on, and I hope to have you on again in the future. I'm sure this is going to be a hit. So thank you so much. Any last words?
Yes, for those that are in the freelancer world, do not give up. Like, it might be slow in the beginning and things might not, but keep at it, be consistent. Honestly, just keep showing up for yourself, keep showing up for your business, keep showing up for the sector. Just keep doing that. Don't think about, oh, the result, I'm not seeing the result. Every day, keep building that muscle, keep working on yourself, because you never know when, before you know it, the right thing will come your way, and that will be the thing that will just like take you to the next level and do that. And for nonprofits, do not let the idea of, because we're nonprofit, then we don't have money. That is that is a wrong thinking. And I want to challenge you to change that. I want you to think of it as you have a role to play in this world. So many lives are relying on your work so that they can change their life for good, so that they can live a good life, so that their communities can be transformed for good. What will it take for you to do it and do it well, and ensure the generations to come will thank you because of you, because of your work, because of your service? And so think about that. Think about the legacy you're going to leave behind. And when you look at your legacy, and when it might look scary and big, but know that it's possible. And how you make it possible is asking for help, like getting people to help you and figure out what is the pathway, what is the right pathway for my organization to be able to do this amazing work and do it well. And so just know that there is a lot of things out there for you. There's abundance. That was one thing else that Ollie taught me, was abundance. Like, there is so much, irrespective of what is going on in the community, in the environment, in the society. Believe it, that there is abundance out there, even for the freelance individuals as well. There is the right kinds of help there for you. The right grants for the nonprofits are out there for you. Everything you need to do this work well, to excel, to be successful, to be fully funded, to operate in surplus, you can have it. It is possible. It's not a pipe dream, and it can happen. But it might take some time, it might take some investment, it might cost you something, but in the long run, it's going to worth it. So do not give up. Thank you for showing up for this sector. Thank you for the amazing champions and change agents that you are. And we're so grateful and we're so lucky to have you and do this work. And we just want to thank you that you guys are the heroes. You are the superheroes, because you are saving so many lives, you are changing so many lives for good, and you are imparting life for good. So keep up the good work. When you feel discouraged, pick yourself up and encourage yourself to say, you know what, because of me, lives are being transformed. Things are going to change for the better. The society is going to improve. And just encourage yourself and keep at it, because in due course, you will be able to see the result of your work. Even though right now it might look like you're not saying anything, just be consistent and keep at it. And before you know it, like the ripple effect, you will not be able to believe it. And just know that you are so essential, and we're so grateful for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Dr. Tala, I will see you soon in the course.
Absolutely.
Of course, we'll have you back on the podcast at some time.
No worries.
I'm back.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And have a good rest of your Friday.